I said I've recalibrated my thinking on guns. I've told you for years and years that I felt that by and large local communities should be able to make the rules, and that, I've been fairly not quite libertarian, and more like classical Democratic Party position on gun control. And in Vermont it's not that big a deal. In New York City it is a big deal. So let the Vermonters deal with it differently than people in New York City, and it just ain't working. It's just not working. By the way, just a heads up, at the when we come out of the break at the bottom of the hour, we're gonna this week we're gonna be doing a fundraiser for the Hunter School and the New England Salem Children's Village. These programs for kids that Louise and I, my wife and I, started in 1978, and we're still on the board of directors of all these many years later. And so it just. Heads up, hunterschool.org if you want to check it out. And their phone number, if you would like to make a donation, is 603-786-9427. 603-786-9427. But I'll be getting back to that in a lot more detail after the break. But here's what has caused me to think about guns differently. First of all, I'm learning things. I didn't know about Switzerland and Israel. In fact, I've been, we've had guests on this program, and they're people I debate with, and they've been putting out the same propaganda that the Charles Koch Foundation, aka the Cato Institute, has been putting out forever. And it's a lie. There is no right to own a gun in either of those countries. In fact, in both countries, you have to prove that you need to have a gun in order to get a gun. Now, here's what happened in Australia. And this is from Slate.com. There's also Eric the Reddish reposted the part of this over at DemocraticUnderground.com under the title, "The Aussies Had a Gun Massacre Problem." I don't know if the thread is still up, but if it is, it's easy to find there too. Or Slate.com. And back in 1996, in Tasmania, which, arguably isn't even Australia. I mean, Tasmania is to Australia sort of like Puerto Rico is to the United States. I believe that it's a semi-autonomous protectorate. I could be wrong. It might be now considered a province, but years ago when I was first there, the Tasmanians certainly viewed themselves as separate. But in any case, let's just say it's more like Hawaii. But whatever it was, this guy killed 35 people and wounded 23. Mass shooting. 12 days later, the newly elected Prime Minister of Australia, a conservative by the name of John Howard. I think I said Major before. It's John Major is the British guy. John Howard is the Australian guy. John Howard is like he's Australia's George W. Bush. He's a conservative Republican. Or it's not the Republican Party there, it's whatever the party is, but it's the Conservative Party, their equivalent of our Republican Party. 12 days after this massacre, he said, okay, let's change the gun laws. Damn it, we've had enough of this. So now in Australia, first they said, let's soak up all the guns that are out there. They the government, they had this massive gun buyback. Turn in your guns, we'll buy them from you. 600,000 people turned in their guns and sold them back to the government. 600,000 to be melted down. And then they put in, that's about a fifth of all the guns that were in circulation in Australia. And then they put, which in the United States, a fifth of all of our 300 million guns would be 60 million. No, 60, you've got 300 million guns. If I said 300,000, we have 300 and a little more than 300 million people. We've got about 300 million guns in the United States. 20% of 300 million guns is 60 million guns. So that would be the equivalent of 60 million guns being sold back to the government of the United States. It's just soaking them up. And then they put into law gun laws prohibiting private sales of guns. They have to go through licensed dealers. No more gun show loopholes. No more selling to your friends. Requiring that every single gun in the country be registered to a single owner, the way we do with cars here. and requiring that if you want to buy a gun, you must produce proof of a, quote, genuine reason for needing each weapon at the time of purchase, and self-defense doesn't count. So you have to prove that you have a genuine reason. Now, what happened when they put this into place in 1996? From 1995 to 2006, this is the tranche of time for which the statistics were compiled, homicides by firearm plunged 59%, dropped 59%. Suicides down 65%. That's suicides by guns. And they found a close correlation between the sharp declines and the buyback. Now, the gun, I want to say gun rights, but I want to stop using that phrase because the gun nuts call it gun rights. The gun advocates, that anybody should be able to own any gun they want, anytime, for any reason, folks, they would say, well, if you don't have a gun in your home, you can't protect yourself against a burglary. Well, here again from the Slate article, robberies involving a firearm also dropped significantly. Meanwhile, home invasions did not increase, contrary to fears that firearm ownership is needed to deter such crimes. And in the 10 years before this giant, gun buy-up in 1996, there had been 11 mass shootings, mass murders in Australia. There hasn't been a single one in the country since. It was like they saw a problem, they did something about it. We need to do the same thing. We need to say in the United States, you want to own a gun? Prove you have a reason. 27 minutes past the...
You're listening to the Thom Hartmann Program. Call 866-987-THOM.
It's about time we stopped talking about the so-called rights of gun owners and started talking about the rights of the rest of us, particularly our 6-year-olds, to be safe from gun owners.